Okay, so imagine this. Okay, it is the year 2000. We haven't got No Mercy yet as a wrestling game. In terms of what we've had for the WWF on PlayStation, we've had Warzone and we've had Attitude. The two games with the arcadey kind of control system. The one I say not the only reason, but one of the very main reasons why I'd stayed off the WWF games until this point. Like I say, we haven't got No Mercy yet, but we have just released SmackDown for the PlayStation. Another brilliant intro, which again, I mean, once after sort of the, I suppose, great intro of WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy, when you see it, has a great intro too. Another fantastic action-packed intro, which of course is what, wrestling was known for. But yes, I remember. So this game, obviously, I spent a lot more time on than the other two. Like I said, I was very lucky enough to have both Nintendo and PlayStation, so I would often sort of switch between WrestleMania 2000 and this one. I mean, just for the sort of differences between them. Ah, yes, this brings back a lot of memories. I mean, but this is kind of what I mean in terms of pixelation. This was kind of what I was talking about on the other video about it being a bit more. I don't want to use the word messy, but I really can't think of another word to use where it is just kind of. It is very pixelated, very pixelated. We won't do a season to start with. We'll do just a normal because I'm going to have to get my head around the controls, which, like I was saying, were a lot simpler on this one than they were on Warzone or Attitude. You had like your basic strikes X, grapple I think was circle. We'll remember once we get into a match anyway. I can't remember what the finisher button was. I can't remember. This is actually also a lot more varied than I remember. There's a lot more match types than I actually remember there being on this first SmackDown. But this was the start. This was the start of the SmackDown series. I suppose I would go as far as to say, we'll do No Manager, the legendary SmackDown series, the series that lasted all the way until it turned to the WWE series when 2K took over. This was the start. This was what it was. Let's do. Actually, Jericho. See, no, I don't know. I'll tell you what we'll do. We will be, because we just have to be. We will be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oops. What we'll do. I'll start with 2. I'll obviously give me full. So basically, the difference between this is how many finishes you either start with or how many that you can store. So I'll start with 2, just because I don't remember the controls, and hitting a stunner very soon if I need to will be actually a lot of help. Let's pick somebody who's. We will do Christian. Let's do Christian. In the interest of me trying to give myself the advantage here, I'm going to allow him to have 2 finishes to store, but he's not going to start with any. Aha, right. So we will do. We don't want. Let's put time limit. No time limit because we don't know how long this is going to last. Interference. We don't want interference. It's going to be complicated enough. KO. Give up. We'll turn that off. Rope break on because that's normal. Out of the ring. I guess that's getting in and out of the ring. We'll leave that on. Count out. None. Arena. Ring. Oh yes, of course. I remember. Yeah. So. This was essentially how you picked your arena as such. You'll see in a minute that you don't actually see the entranceway on the entrances, but that's your SmackDown, of course. That will be, I'm assuming, what will be Raw. Ah, yes, and this was when you play through the season. Any pay-per-views, they used a different sort of side angle, more similar to that of Madison Square Garden camera angle for what was pay-per-views arena. So that's what these 3 are going to be: the SmackDown, Raw, and pay-per-view. We'll do Raw, and this, of course, was the ring sort of told you, especially on the pay-per-view side view. This was what told you what show you were on. So let's do Raw, and that's all ready to go. I'm not sure. I think so. So yeah, when the entrances load up, you'll see what I was talking about in the other video. So look, full playable video, not like you get on the N64, which was not a proper video, but you don't get to see the entranceway. Whereas on the N64 versions of the games, on the Akai engine, you did get to see the entranceway, but you didn't get full playthroughable videos. They were screenshots, if anything. Which one did I prefer of the two? You know, I don't know. I think I would probably have to, and it's only because of picking. I would pick the N64 only because I liked seeing the entranceways when wrestlers were coming out. You can also see what I was talking about, the sort of pixelation of the graphics. Everything's a bit more flat, everything's a bit more molded into itself. Everything seems to be, I don't know, like a watercolor painting, I suppose would be the best description. Right, let's see if we can remember the controls. Right, strike, yep, X, oh, and circle is in fact grapple, which means that square, let's just stand over here. So square will be the reverse button, and triangle is indeed run. Oh dear. Oh, this is a lot more fast-paced than I remember it being. I'm not doing very well at all. Let's see if we can get a reverse in there somewhere. No, apparently not. It will be, I guess, it's going to be a timing window again with the reversals, I suspect. Let's see, I'm not sure how. I think finishes were L1 back in this stage, because I think around about the time of, was it SmackDown vs Raw 2009? The controls changed. Most of the basics, like I think grapple and strike stayed the same, but there was a whole new grapple system and a whole new finisher system as well. So they did change, which is why getting my grips around the controls again is part of the difficulty here. He's done a reversal. He gets up rather quickly. I don't know whether, do they get fatigue like they did in the Akai system? I actually can't remember. I can't remember. It's been such a long time since I've played this game that I'm just missing him. Not a suplexes. Right. So that will be, and I think I am remembering now, that in terms of move sets, depending on back facing or front facing, because grapple was grapple, I think you only had 4 different moves depending on what direction you hit. On whether you're facing their back or facing their front. So in terms of moves wise, it wasn't the greatest of, I mean, compared to, I suppose, other games, was it? You know, the directional thing was quite normal. There was a difference, of course, with the Akai system and then 64 ones. A difference between strong and light grapples. Ah, it is L1. There we go. I thought it might be. I think I did think I remembered that. So like I say, I mean, this was the game that we hadn't witnessed No Mercy yet, which I've said before, lots of people considered one of, if not the greatest wrestling game ever created. But think back to a time where we haven't seen that yet. You know, we are operating on the basis of WrestleMania 2000 for N64. Like I did say on the other videos, the WCW games, I think, had just... That wasn't even a finisher. That's interesting. So, grapple and left is apparently a Stone Cold Stunner. Let's just press the circle normally, pick them up. It is, yeah, so, okay. Now that's strange. I can do a stunner. I wonder if the system thinks it's stronger, or one is stronger than the other. Right, so circle on its own is Irish Whip. See, getting my head around the controls again is quite... See, I'm trying to press down and grapple to see what move that is, but he keeps walking away from him. I mean, bear in mind as well that in terms of the length of time it's been since I've played this game, if you were playing this all the time, you'd remember the controls and you'd be much more used to them. And in terms of the flow of a match, it would be, it would certainly be better than I'm doing now. But this, oh, there we go, reversal. So is he getting more fatigued? I actually don't know if he is. I haven't reversed anything yet either, so I don't actually know if it was. Well, he's doing the reversed stance, which means it's got to be timing window. Let's see if we can do. Oh. So if you run and press the reverse button, you go behind them. See, I keep doing it because I'm trying to walk towards him. I keep doing the same. I keep doing the Stone Cold Stunner. Pile driver. In terms of wrestling and back in 2000, I mean, 2000, 2001. I mean, some will consider them some of the greatest years we saw in professional wrestling on the WWF side, anyway. Once it got to 2000, I mean 2001 anyway. Bear in mind that the WWF actually bought out the WWF and WCW. Let's see if let's do a corner move. Oh, it's not like. Oh, so you actually do have to jump. You actually have to press a button. So the WCW, I suppose you could say, was kind of winding down at this point. You know, we'd seen the NWO 2000. We'd had the horrible Bash at the Beach moment with Hogan, Jeff Jarrett, and Vince Russo. Those of you who will know what I'm talking about will know what I'm talking about. How do I actually? How do I taunt then? I don't know what taunt is, because I'm assuming the spirit bar will go up. Same. I mean, in terms of what the games did, both games had, like, I think if you taunted, your spirit level went up. I don't think theirs went down in this, like they did in the Akai System N64 ones. Oh dear, he's getting a bit of a stride on now, isn't he? I've got to find my reverse window. That'll do. Let's do an actual finisher stunner. Boom. It also means, I can't remember what pin is. Oh, there we go. Down in circle is pin. We figured that out. So if you think in terms of game-wise, and you think in terms of what we were watching on TV as a wrestling fan, WWF had started to take over. From here on out, I suppose you could say it was WWF all the way. They dominated because the company didn't exist anymore in terms of WCW or ECW either, bear in mind, because obviously there was an ECW. In fact, no, there's 2 ECW games on the PlayStation. Let's pin him and have a bit of a look around the menu system. Will he kick out? No, he will not. So this was kind of, I mean, I suppose, so like I'm trying to say, this was kind of the start of what we knew in the transitional period of professional wrestling. Games, television, everything. This was the starting point of it all, because by the time SmackDown 2 came out, no, in fact, SmackDown 2 was 2001. What did I say data? I guess so. And I think that came out just before the invasion angle actually happened. But as far as I remember, I don't believe there was any more WCW games. Right, so who were the champions back then? Triple H, of course. Chris Jericho, makes sense. New Age Outlaws, yep. Val Venis, of course. Big Boss Man? No, I don't actually think I remember his run, although with the Hardcore Championship, could you? Tori, yeah, that's... So Tori, I mean, going back to, again, the year 2000, this was not actually Tori Wilson that some people might know, of the Tori Wilson that came over from WCW. This was a different Tori. Ironically, her last name was Wilson as well. And that's it, okay. So, yeah, I mean, let's do... Now, I do want to take a look at Create a Superstar, because this one was particularly limited in terms of what you could do in Create a Superstar. So what we'll do is... I think we have to actually create a physical one first. Profile, completion. Let's do the appearance, because this is the bit I want to talk about. So, you'll see the gold number in the bottom. That means there's 63 head variations. So if we were to switch between the different heads, it's not like you were picking individually what your face looked like, what your hair looked like, or even anything like that. You were literally picking from models already made. It was basically like, you can see Boss Man, that's X-Pac, Vince McMahon, Billy Gunn. You can, there towards the end, I suppose, I use the word custom, but ones that obviously weren't already roster members. But like I say, not very, versatile at all. It's not like you were picking what your hair looked like, what colour eyes you had, anything like that. It was very kind of limited. I mean, that's Jeff Hardy, so that would have been probably the one I picked, because I do have long blonde hair, I have done for years. And it was the same with the body and top and the legs. I'm not sure why they did it this particular way for the first SmackDown, because I mean, everybody, when you create a superstar, inevitably the thing you want to do is that most people, I did obviously as a kid, and I'm sure many others did exactly the same. So right, so here we go, this is what I'm talking about. So custom, different ones that aren't on the roster yet, but you want to create yourself. That's generally the idea. That's generally what people do when they think of create a superstar. So I think is that supposed to be Hogan? Maybe, I don't know. And back to Stone Cold. So there we go. What we'll do, just for the sake of argument, we will do one of the Lucha masks, just because that's the most generic I think I can think of. We'll do the purple guy, and then of course you switch between. We'll go backwards this time, because obviously we want to find the custom ones. I mean, yeah. I mean, you really had to. I mean, I can't even remember if you can do the season mode with a create a star. I think you could, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure you could. Even if I was to do one, I would probably do one using an actual superstar anyway. I mean, that you just saw there as well. There was no differentiating between male and female. It's literally just, I mean, there seems to be more. There's 75. There seems to be more upper bodies than there were heads. But again, mostly people that already exist. Body types. I mean, if you look at the image on the left, again, did they equate into the fact that if you had a certain body with a certain head, it looked a bit odd? I don't know. It seems to me anyway. And now I'm not a game developer, and I'm judging those who obviously created this game. But I'm not sure I would sit in a boardroom or sit in a creative meeting and think that this was a good idea. I'm not sure how it even got past anyone, really. We've just got to the beginning again. So what we'll do, we'll just do a normal Stone, because that's Stone Cold, obviously. We'll just do normal Stone Cold's body. We'll go backwards again, just because we want to get a more custom. I say that as Triple H's tights turn up. But there again, so I'm not sure what bodies or what bottoms go with this Lucha mask. Because it's not like you can change the colour of anything. So say I wanted to do those blue trunks with the tattoos, which we'll do. It's not like you can change the colour of them. We'll leave all that the same. Finished. There we go. And that was it. Personality is just that between... oh, okay. A little bit more intuitive than I remember. But logic and stuff will be heel or face. Fighting style will be like brawler or stuff like that. Ability will probably be your technical skill points and level. Yeah. Profile, you named them. Said where they're from. Favorite star. I'm not sure what that had to do with anything, but entrance movie. Of course, the movie that comes on Although it doesn't say music, so I wonder if favourite start is music. It probably is. But we'll leave this Create a Superstar now because I just wanted to show you the difference. Because if, you know, doing something like SmackDown 2, and especially what we've already seen on that of WrestleMania 2000, even Revenge to a certain extent, this was not a game for Create a Superstar, to create your own guy to go up against the wrestlers of the WWF. Create a pay-per-view. I assume that's just a run of matches which would be very similar to season, same as the other games. Excuse me. Same as the other games, I suspect. Rankings. If I remember rightly, this had to do with who faced champions at different times. Like, for instance, if we were going through the season mode, I would suspect that one of the title matches would probably be either Stone Cold versus Triple H or The Rock versus Triple H. Although Triple H is down on 60 points at 4th. Without doing the season mode, we can't tell. But what we will do is we will go into the season mode, and I'll show you what it looks like. Because this, I can't remember if it was this one or SmackDown 2, but you had sort of like kind of backstage segments. Okay, so this is where you choose who you are, and okay, so we'll do because he's select participants. Right, but how do I pick who I am? 36 entries, so there's only 36 wrestlers. There's only 36 wrestlers. Oh, that's how you change it. 2-player is lit up, but I only have one controller plugged in at the moment. I've gone back to the Storm controller, if that makes any difference. Right, so we'll do Kane. Can you do more than one person as... like, if I was to pick that? Wow, now that's interesting. I don't remember that. You can be more than one person. I don't remember that. Because I would also... So can I be Kane and The Undertaker? No, it does turn off the other one. Okay. That would have been really cool. Am I sure? Yes. House show. This one I think also... I think is going to be the side cam. And you can see the... Okay, title holder list rankings are in their exit match. Right, so let's see what it looks like. So this was the match card. Very similar to that of WrestleMania 2000. You got to see the match card, who it was and what was going on. They've got life meters as well. I don't think I remember that. Skip that match. Val Venus won. Next. Tag match. Okay, well, oops. We'll skip this one as well. Next. Me. Okay. Maybe it was SmackDown 2 that had the backstage. And I say segments because they didn't really have anything to do with anything. You'd have like two people either walk past each other and it would tell you like Christian is walking past so-and-so, Chris Jericho is standing here. The backstage segments never really had actually anything to do with what was going on, even on that show or in this. There was no story. You were literally, I mean, it is exactly what it says. It was a season. Press start, past that. I always did like Mankind's music. Very, very good. It really was just playing through a season. You know, the idea, of course, to get to pay-per-views, to win titles, get your ranking points up. I still don't know what taunt is. No, maybe. I'm sure you could. That would be odd if you couldn't. I do remember being able to, but again, am I remembering SmackDown 2? I mean, visually, this and SmackDown 2. SmackDown 2 looked a little bit better, but visually, this and SmackDown 2 looked pretty much the same to one another. It wasn't really until. I mean, SmackDown 3, which was on the PlayStation 2 rather than the PlayStation, I think was the first sort of remnants of the story we saw on PlayStation anyway. Because, of course, by the time that No Mercy came along, they had actually a really good sort of story mode. You did get to pick the championships you went for, which is what depended on what the story was in No Mercy. So that and SmackDown 3, Just Bring It, were sort of the first ones that had a story of any kind. But there again, I mean, can you judge it for what it's called? These were called season modes. They are exactly what that word was. It was literally just playing through a season. There was no story, as it were. I mean, I suppose as a kid, you could make ones up in your head. You know, obviously, you know, Kane versus Mankind, you could make something out of that. It'll be interesting to see if this does have the same kind of backstage thing I was thinking about to SmackDown 2. And of course, you wouldn't do it straight away as soon as you go into a. I remember SmackDown 2 having a lot of loading screens though. This seems to load through a lot quicker. There was a lot of loading screens on SmackDown 2. I remember that. I mean, anyone who's played SmackDown 2 would remember that distinctively. I mean, everything you did, after every backstage segment, there was a loading video. Every match you did, there was a backstage video. Even if it was just a short kind of like, someone, oh no, The Rock's coming in. Is he on Mankind's side because he's going after me? I mean, that logic would depict that he is. He's not doing much though. Yeah, he's definitely going after me. Right, let's chokeslam Mankind. Oh, The Rock's already given up. Rope break. He's going to try and get my legs though. That's interesting. So it didn't give me the option to turn in on or off interference. And the reason it's The Rock, historically around this sort of time, obviously the year 2000, it will be because of the Rock and Sock connection. They were in fact a tag team at this point, which is probably why he's come in to help him on the interference. But then who would come in on interference for someone who doesn't have a tag team partner? I think at this point Kane did. I think his tag partner was actually X-Pac at the time. Will he? 2. Okay, that's a lot easier than I thought. Well, I didn't do much. He went for me once, gave up, and then left the ring, which was interesting. Okay. I mean, this obviously that did say now loading, but in terms of the length as well, I remember SmackDown 2. I mean, honestly, I cannot tell you. The only way is to actually show you physically on a video. But SmackDown 2 had so many loading screens, and they were long. They were really long. We'll skip this. This is only a house show though, so which is actually interesting because women's title on a house show. I don't think that would have happened back in the day, and even if it did, the title wouldn't have changed hands, which it obviously has done this time. That wouldn't have happened on. Well, we'll call it. I mean, this is a house show, but that wouldn't have happened in TV land. Another house show. I didn't even look at what stage we were wrestling at. So rankings wise, have my points gone up at all? Where would that put Kane now then? So my points at the moment are 47. Stone Cold's have actually gone down apparently. We'll do match again. Right, so yeah, I don't think this one does. I think it's only SmackDown 2. I don't think this had anything in terms of backstage segments. I don't think this had anything apart from working your way through a match card. It seems. Another non-title. I mean, so there you go. The Rock and Mankind, Rock and Sock, and they've won as well. I mean, their points have gone up. Oh, golly. Am I even on this show? Oh, there we go. Kane and Big Show. We'll do this one, and then we'll sort of we'll wind it up. But, I mean, again, put yourself in the mindset of it being the year 2000. This seems quite thin on the ground for what we know now. But for back then, it really was, I mean, these were our choices. It probably does go to show why I spent a little bit more time on my Nintendo 64 than I did on my PlayStation. Because really, in terms of games you were playing, and the depth of them, what you could do on them, Nintendo 64 just at this point still just kind of had it nailed. You know, the Akai guys, the Akai system really did have it nailed. And bear in mind, of course, is that it's not like even at this point you were changing between WCW and WWF, because at this time, by the time we'd hit the year 2000, all games pretty much, wrestling-wise, were to do the WWF. Unless you were playing stuff like, I mean, again, PlayStation 2 times, like Legends of Wrestling, they had 3. They had Legends of Wrestling 2, and Legends of Wrestling Showdown. Each of them got better and better. I mean, I remember Legends of Wrestling being quite bare, but even in terms of wrestlers, actually, in fact, I don't think there was many on there at all. We hadn't seen, again, if you're thinking year 2000 point, we hadn't seen Def Jam yet. We hadn't got anything like that. We hadn't got our backyard wrestling games yet. It really was, what, the arcade ones, Warzone, Attitude, the WCW games, which are World Tour and Revenge, then of course WrestleMania 2000, and this, because like I say, we hadn't got to No Mercy yet. We were yet to have the greatest game, wrestling-wise, unleashed on us at this point. Oh. I've just realised that I think most people either have a secondary finisher or their second finisher. For instance, like, because Kane and Undertaker both had the choke slam and both had the Tombstone pile driver. Apparently you can do the second one by normal Oh, okay, that's good. Apparently you can. Apparently the second finisher is just a normal grapple move. But there we go. So that was WWF SmackDown on the PlayStation for the year 2000. Like I say, SmackDown 2 it's a little bit more you could do. Obviously, the backstage videos, I was thinking about European Championship match. Yeah, see, there's a lot of titles going on. What they're calling house shows. Pay-per-view. We'll exit this now, though. But again, like I say, this was the start. I mean, think about when, you know, the start of the GTA series, the start of any kind of series, you know, when it's the inaugural game, I think that's the right word, you know, first of a series, it's going to be a little bit like this. But again, am I judging that by more modern standards than I am a year 2000 standard? But there we go. WWF SmackDown for the PlayStation. Catch you later.